Have you ever had a neighbor who seems to wake up every morning looking for a new way to make your life harder? I do. Her name is Karen. My story begins simply enough. I live in a neighborhood governed by a homeowners association, an HOA, and I decided I wanted to keep a few chickens. Fresh eggs, a touch of rustic charm, nothing outrageous. So I built a small, neat coop in my backyard. It was charming, practical, and my 3 hens absolutely adored it. Karen, however, whose backyard happens to face mine, did not. About a week after the chickens settled in, I received my first official letter from the HOA. It was a formal complaint filed by Karen, naturally, claiming my chicken coop was an unauthorized structure. Supposedly, I had violated some obscure bylaw buried deep in the rule book. I was fined $100 and given 2 weeks to remove it. I was irritated, but I told myself rules were rules. I dismantled the coop, paid the fine, and decided to try again, this time by studying the bylaws personally. I combed through the section on minor accessory buildings. There were specific size limits and approved materials listed. Fine, I could work with that. So I built coop number 2. Smaller footprint, compliant materials, even painted to match my house. It blended in beautifully. From Karen's yard, it was practically invisible. I genuinely believed this version would pass without issue. It did not. 2 days later, another letter arrived. This time the complaint wasn't about the structure. It was about livestock noise. Chickens cluck. That's what they do. Karen had recorded my hen's gentle morning chatter and submitted it as evidence of a nuisance. The HOA sided with her again. Another fine, $200, and another order to remove the coop. My chickens ended up confined to a temporary setup in my garage, and my patience was wearing dangerously thin. That's when it became personal. Karen would stand at her window watching me. I could see the smirk on her face as I tore down the second coop. At that point, it wasn't just about poultry. It was a battle. So I constructed coop number 3. This one was built like a bunker. I insulated the walls for soundproofing. I tucked it into the farthest corner of my yard, shielded by trees. I was determined to make it work. It survived a whole month before the certified letter arrived. Karen had discovered a new angle: improper waste disposal. She claimed she could smell the chicken droppings. The HOA sent an inspector who, on an especially windy afternoon, admitted he detected the faintest hint of what he described as agricultural odor. That was enough. The fine jumped to $500, and the letter carried a final warning. Any further violations would result in legal action. I demolished coop number 3. By then, I was furious. This wasn't about chickens anymore. It was about principle. Karen had declared war, and the HOA was marching behind her. I sat in my garage staring at my miserable hens and nearly gave up. Then an idea struck. Not just any idea. An idea fueled by pure, unfiltered spite. I didn't just want to win. I wanted to win in a way that left Karen completely powerless. I reread the bylaws. Every line, every footnote. I studied sections on fences, lawn care, seasonal decorations. And buried deep within landscaping and yard art regulations, I found it. The loophole. The HOA rules were extremely strict about sheds, playhouses, and animal enclosures. But when it came to garden sculptures or artistic installations, the language was surprisingly vague. A sculpture could be up to 12 feet tall, constructed from any material, and required no pre-approval, so long as it wasn't a habitable structure. Habitable, that was the key. The bylaws defined a habitable structure as one with a foundation, plumbing, and electricity intended for human occupancy. My next creation would have none of those. A magnificent, malicious, entirely legal plan took shape. For 6 weeks, my garage transformed into a workshop. I spent thousands of dollars. This wasn't going to be a coop. It was going to be a masterpiece. I enlisted an architect friend to help draft the design. Together, we conceived a structure resembling an abstract modern art installation. Sweeping curves, geometric cutouts, polished steel, rich cedar panels, shatterproof polycarbonate surfaces. From the outside, it looked like something you'd see in a high-end sculpture garden. Inside, however, it was paradise for chickens. The interior featured automated feeders and waterers powered entirely by solar panels, no grid connection. The flooring was engineered so waste dropped through a graded system into a concealed tray that I could slide out discreetly for cleaning, eliminating odor. Nesting boxes were hidden within geometric alcoves. Perches were sculpted to resemble abstract branches. The entire structure was insulated and ventilated through subtle design-integrated vents. It was beautiful, over-engineered, soundproof, technically uninhabitable. Installation day was unforgettable. A crane lifted the massive structure over my fence and lowered it carefully into place. Curious neighbors gathered to watch the giant metallic art piece settle into my yard. Through her blinds, I caught a glimpse of Karen's utterly baffled expression. Once it was secured, I introduced my hens to their new palace. They thrived immediately. From the outside, you couldn't see or hear a thing. It stood silent and imposing, a magnificent piece of modern art. I waited. Less than 24 hours later, there was a knock at my door. The HOA president stood there, Karen practically vibrating beside him with outrage. "That thing," she sputtered, pointing dramatically. "It's another illegal chicken coop. It's enormous." The president cleared his throat. "We've received a complaint about an unapproved structure." I smiled politely. "Oh, you mean my sculpture? It's not a structure. It's art. You're welcome to inspect it." We walked to the backyard. Karen rushed ahead, searching for doors or windows. There were none. She pressed her ear against the steel, trying to hear clucking. Silence. The soundproofing was flawless. "They're in there," she shrieked. The HOA president circled it, clipboard in hand. "What exactly is this?" he asked. "It's a multi-medium artistic installation." I replied smoothly. "It's titled The Gilded Cage. It explores the tension between rural identity and suburban conformity." He flipped through the rule book. "Does it have a foundation?" "No. It rests on precast concrete piers, which are permitted for sculptures." "Plumbing? Electricity?" "Neither. All systems are self-contained and solar-powered, similar to garden lighting." He paused. The structure met height requirements. It respected setbacks. It wasn't habitable under their definition. And without proof of chickens inside, there was no basis for noise or waste violations. Karen was unraveling. "This is absurd. It's obviously a chicken coop." The president sighed and looked at her. "Ma'am, according to our bylaws, this qualifies as a legal piece of garden art. There's nothing I can do." The expression on her face was priceless, a masterful blend of disbelief, fury, and total defeat. She stood speechless as the president nodded at me and walked away. And that's how I won. My hens now reside in the most extravagant, architect-designed coop imaginable. I collect fresh eggs each morning. And every time I glance out my window at that towering steel sculpture, I'm reminded that sometimes the best response to ridiculousness is even more perfectly legal, spectacular ridiculousness. Karen hasn't filed a single complaint since. I suspect she finally realized she was outmatched. After all, revenge is best served inside a 12-foot-tall, architecturally brilliant chicken palace. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this tale of suburban warfare, make sure to like and subscribe for more.